Hey guys, how's it going? It is Kyra here with another Guardian Tales video, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the new upcoming banner in Guardian Tales. So this is going to be happening about a week from now on the NA server. Korean server is always advanced from us. They're always ahead of schedule, so we get to see in advance on what's going to be coming through. So there's no new hero here. It's just reruns of very good heroes. So this is an amazing opportunity to pick up some of the best characters in the entire game here in Guardian Tales. So we're going to be breaking those characters down, and then we have to remember the value of these characters really matters on where you're currently at in the game. The timing of what characters you've pulled for, when you started, what choices you've made currently, and then what roles you're looking to fulfill on your particular roster. So certain characters that are absolute must pulls on some rosters are not necessarily the case on yours. So just remember that and try to apply this information to your particular roster. So what I'm going to be doing is just quickly going over all 9 characters on this upcoming banner here. There'll be timestamps down below on each hero, so be sure to check that out if you just want to go to a particular hero, my thoughts on them, and just apply what I'm saying to your roster. And if you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments below. But all of this is very particular to what you currently have to make the best possible choice. And so with all that being said, let's get into the video here. Okay, we got Erina here. Mainly going to be a Erina character. That's going to be where she shines the most by far. In other game modes, she's not necessarily the best. There's going to be other characters you're going to prefer over her. But at the same time, if you're looking for a character that is going to be amazing for you in Erina at the moment and could kind of pass in other game modes, then I would say she's going to be a good pickup for you. So she has a defensive party buff, which is great. And then her passive is pretty unique here, which is slightly increases resistance to elements and then raises defense by 30% for 4 seconds. And then when inflicted with elements on hit, increases defense by 30% for 4 seconds. What that does is it makes it to where if you're facing her in Erina, it takes more weapon skills to actually put her in that CC state, which changes everything in matchups in your favor. She has a combination of ranged and melee. So then you can't really kite her as well as most melee characters because she's always going to lead out or a ranged attack, which I think is a great combination. And then she has a second ability here, attacks with a shield to inflict damage to enemies, and then creates a shield by 50% of the inflicted damage, which is pretty useful. So she has multiple range moves in a melee style kit. She's tanky herself. I would say her weakness is she has a pretty lackluster weapon skill of her own, kind of hard to hit, but at the same time, harder for you to CC her with an ailment yourself, even though she doesn't have a great weapon skill. Most of the time, you're going to be able to apply that weapon skill before they can apply it to you. Just going to all be about how well you play the matchup. I think she has great matchups with a lot of characters. At the moment, the only, dark characters you're going to have to dodge, synergizes well with most heroes. Just a great overall character. She has a great matchup with Future Princess. So if you're looking for a character that's going to be good in Erina, Erina is going to be a great choice for you. Oghma, next hero, I think this is going to be a great pickup for almost everyone. Okay, so the main reasons why people pick him up are going to be a few things. Mainly it's this is by far the best part of his kit in my opinion, which is his special ability here. Very unique and helps out essentially everyone, which is defense regulator. Enhances defense to party members who have lower defense than his. Party members' defense increases by 15% of the difference between Oghma's and their defense. It applies prior to party effect. Also, he has a 45% defense party buff. So mainly the whole intention of him is to have him on the team, put as much defense on him as possible, and then he's going to boost up the defense of everyone else in your team. Makes everyone tankier. That's his goal in this. Then, if you're going to be taking him into Erina, then you're going to want his exclusive weapon. Because him as a character, he applies that party buff, or that the party buff plus the special effects. So he's still useful, but if you want him to be useful as an actual character himself in Erina, besides just being a stat boost to your roster, you're going to want to have this exclusive weapon. Because the weapon skill is very unique in how it follows people around with the pressure field. So if you get close enough and you activate it, it will chase them around. That's the only weapon skill that does that. You absolutely need to have that. Then he has this returns part of the inflicted damages to the attacker in proportion to Oghma's defense, 1 second cooldown time. So you absolutely need to have that if you want him in Erina. But I still think he's an amazing character, even if you don't get the exclusive weapon on him, just because of his passive. He's that good, in my opinion. He's just better with the exclusive weapon. You're going to be using him he can be used in Erina, but Coliseum, he's a great off tank that fits with a variety of different team comps. And then based on whatever the remaining heroes are on your roster, he has one of the best taunts in the game. Right here, taunts enemies around you, defense increases by 50% for 3 seconds. Amazing taunt makes him even way tankier than he already normally is. Like mine currently has 1300 defense, which you can get way higher. This is like a low, I would say, you know, out of an in-game tank, you could get way higher. I could get 10% more defense if I max limit broke this. He could be way higher than 1300, but you know, 1300 is probably relatively high. So Arena, Coliseum, but then when it comes to Orbital Lift, he's easily one of the best, if not the best character in this, because you absolutely need him if you're going to be clearing some of this harder content. You're going to be seeing a ton of Oghma. This is the hardest content in the game, and you see Oghma everywhere here because he's absolutely essential in making sure you can actually survive. If you don't, he makes your team the most survivable it can possibly be. He's the best at that. No one comes close. And he's going to also help you in Camo Zone. Pretty much they're essentially the same game type. So a character good there is going to be good in Camo Zone. A character good in Coliseum is probably going to be good in those game modes. Anyway, I just like to talk about that because we see in a Coliseum environment, you can't reach stuff like this. And so what characters actually rise to the top here? Oghma's always at the top here. He's always going to be the best character here, so far at least, until we potentially get another character. So he's an absolute must pull when it comes to trying to progress this content. And so, and especially if you don't have as much collection bonus as these people do, he's going to allow you to progress things faster than if you didn't have such high collection bonus. If you're kind of like low there, or you're low in Guardian Base Camp, you're not able to get away with the things that other people can do that have all these other benefits. So he's going to be the best one to push you through and get you through Camo Zone as fast as possible, get you through as high as you possibly could in these other game modes quicker than other characters would. So amazing character. Oghma is still a must pull. If you don't have him, I would highly recommend going for him. Future Princess, still a great character, essentially could be used everywhere as a main party character. Amazing weapon skill, has a pretty good party buff of the 40% HP. Those are going to be the main reasons why you bring her. She has good healing for everyone. I think she's one of the best characters when it comes to clearing the campaign. Going through the campaign again, you really appreciate characters that have self healing. You don't have like the type advantage in certain areas. She's just nice to have because she's so tanky and she heals herself. She has a really good, or her chain skill where it puts the barrier and then restores everyone's HP by 10%. You don't really get to appreciate that too much in you know, Arena, because you usually kill them by then. In other game modes, that it's really nice to have, but it makes everyone so much more survivable than they would be otherwise. So it's still a great character, going to be used. You can use her everywhere. I would say she is slightly coming out of the meta a little bit, but at the same time, I think that's only like an in-game thing where you're seeing Camille, you're seeing all these other characters. For most people, she's going to give you the most value out of any character you possibly can pull, and I still think that applies now. So still a great character. Cool that she's coming out in a new banner here. She's still one of the most valuable characters in the game. I would say the only character that's ever come close to how good she is Camille. And I would say Camille's potentially even better at this point in the game. More useful than Future Princess, but he's probably not going to be in a rebanner for quite a while. Whereas she's like a close number 2 in just how big of a boost she gives to your account. Other characters are kind of getting in there. And then she's not just a no-brainer must pull anymore for some people, depending on what other characters you have on their account. But at the same time, for most people, she is, and she's still an amazing character that if you don't have, it's going to help your account up quite a bit. So MK99, amazing character, probably one of the best characters on this banner, in my opinion, is going to be incredibly useful in every game mode in the entire game. I really like her in Arena because of just how stupid her damage could potentially be. And then her range in other game modes make it to where she's actually safe in Coliseum, in Camo Zone, and Orbital, if you can just rely on her to sit in the corner and do as much damage as possible. For what she just does it, I would say, the best out of all these ranged characters. Her typing is great because the light support in Future Princess and Eleanor makes her even better. It's just by far the most complete element. So she's the ranged damage dealer on the best element there. She has the built-in 50% ranged attack buff. Having it on herself is fantastic because it makes her the one that you can move around with other teams. It's not like Garam, for example, where he's water-based. Even though he does comparable damage, he's boosting 50% water, so he's not nearly as versatile as MK99 is. That's why I like her more than him. And then also, she's just better in Arena. She does more damage, she does more burst. I think she's just a more valuable character, by far the most valuable ranged attacker in the game, in my opinion. She's essentially one of the few characters in the game that's not only good in every game mode, but she's great in every game mode. So if you don't have her, you have other light characters, especially of Eleanor. Definitely go for her because she's an amazing character that you can fit on pretty much every team. She's going to make your account better, in my opinion. Definitely want the exclusive weapon on her, though. Okay, next here on the list is Eleanor. I think this is a great character. only if you have a lot of other light heroes. So if you have MK99, if you have Future Princess, if you have Gabriel, then she really rounds out the rest of that light team. She's incredible. I think she's absolutely amazing, and she's good value too, because what she brings to the table, she's kind of like Oghma in the sense that she has a really good special ability, and you might not necessarily need her exclusive weapon. So she goes a long way value wise because she's boosting up those previous light heroes you've already pulled for. She might not really need exclusive weapon, which by far the most expensive part of these characters. So very good value pick in the niche situation where you have a lot of light characters already. But the special ability here is Harmonia. If a light type hero is in the party, damage taken is reduced by 20%. Then for each light type party member, increases the attack of all party members by 5% up to a maximum of 20%. You get a 20% attack up for all party members if you have the other light heroes on the team. It's absolutely fantastic. And then you get 25% light attack boost and a skill damage boost of 40% on every hero there. Really good. And then as you can see here with her exclusive weapon, it's not necessary in my opinion, but still solid. Even if you're taking her to a raiding environment, I don't think you even need this, because you could just max out a light basket here and actually get the 10% boost. So you almost don't need her exclusive weapon at all, regardless of where you take her. But she does get the bonus here of increases damage of something by 20% on hit, marks enemies with a musical note for 3 seconds. Marked enemies will be damaged by the musical note's explosion if not hit by the next something. So the something I'm talking about is her auto attack. I just don't know how to pronounce it. Plays a beautiful melody to inflict damage to enemies and restores allies HP. One of the most useful characters in the game if you have light heroes, and does not need an exclusive weapon. So great value pickup if you're focusing on the light faction. Going to be useful pretty much everywhere except Erina, in my opinion. Maybe she's just like a sleeper pick or something like that, but I don't think she's gonna be that good. Good basic heroes in Erina at the moment, so even if a mono light team was good, they're just gonna get beat by Erinas and Camille and stuff like that. It'd be hard to justify taking a mono light team in, because you'd be sacrificing Erina and Camille on there. But great value pickup, definitely worth considering if you have other light heroes. Okay, so next we have Miya here. Best healer in the game, very good hero to splash in with pretty much everyone. Why she's so useful and why she's such a good pickup is she's very similar to Oghma, where when the game modes you want to put her in, she's not just an option. She's like one of the only options you can pick up for these game modes, and is going to push you to those higher parts of content that you couldn't get without her otherwise. Maybe that's starting to change recently with some of the different matchups up here, but for the most part you're going to see a ton of Miya in the harder content. As you can see, Oghma Miya always up here, and I think that really speaks to just how good she is, because this is the hardest content in the game and she's always picked up here, as we're seeing other characters on here in Lilith and Future Princess, stuff like that. I think this really is a good way of telling, especially from a PvE standpoint, what actually scales to the hardest you could possibly make it. And only Oghma and Miya are going to be they're some of the characters you only see up there. So as a healer, yes, you could go all light team, and you have Eleanor and all these other people, and you have the healing there, but you don't see that. All you see is Miya up there, and all you see is Oghma up there as some of the tanky characters. So I think that really shows just how good she is, and if you're looking for a healer, she's going to be your best option. And then you could apply that where this content's not as hard, Camazone's not as hard, but you have the best healer there, and you know that people have chosen her in the tough content, not other people. So I think that just speaks to how good she is as a healer. When it comes to Erina, she's not really that viable. She can be good in there. I've seen some cheese comps that use her, but she's not a great Erina character. And then in Coliseum, she's a niche pick depending on what other heroes you have on the roster. But this is only the top. You could totally get away with using Miya, but you're not necessarily going to be pushing some of the top ranks up here. She's still going to be a decent character you can throw in there if you don't have that much of a roster. If she's one of your only good ranged heroes that you have maxed up, throw her in your Coliseum team and you're still going to do well. You don't need to push this top 100 or only look to the top 100 to check viability. It's just cool to see her up here to show that she still scales at the top 100 as well as these other heroes up here. Don't always take, oh, this hero is absolutely useless if you don't see her in the top 100. I still think she's going to be a good character. It's just a bonus that she's even viable up there, versus the thing you're really getting out of her is helping you through hard campaign, helping you through orbital lift and camo zone, and knowing you have the best possible unit for that, which I think is fantastic. So I think she's a really good pull, and it's cool that she's back. Is going to be Lucy. She's a little bit more unique, in my opinion, that she's very useful in the raiding environment. And what makes her so useful is just how versatile she is up here, because you could throw in all these different types of weapons, and things that she's bringing to the table is all of her special ability and the chain skill, the bonuses she gets here from a damage perspective. But it doesn't necessarily mean she needs to be a fire character. You can have her on whatever team comp you want to throw her on. So the chain skill inflicts 300% of DPS with a hurricane card trick, increases allies crit hit multiplier by 100% for 6 seconds, which is fantastic if you're just trying to do as much damage as possible. Then special ability on critical hit, moving speed increases by 25% for 4 seconds, and critical hit multiplier increases by 50%. So she has this multiplier on her critical hit damage, which is great for the team and then for herself. And then also party buff and critical hit chance by 36%. Great things there when it comes to just damage, and that's why people throw her in all the time in all these different teams. You can throw her on the water team, on the basic team. Like currently I'm using her on the basic team right now, and you just can throw in a basic weapon here, and then that's going to allow her to fit in that team and do a ton of damage, because the other characters on the basic team are increasing, you know, basic damage by 50%, and then you have the 30% increased damage just because it's a, you know, light boss, so she's getting that base amount of damage there. So it doesn't, you don't necessarily need to have a character that is a fire character, and she doesn't need to fit with the fire team. That's what's so cool about her. But not many people actually care about that versatility if she's not good in other game modes like Arena, Coliseum, and other things. And I don't think she's really that good in those game modes. I think if anything, she's probably a niche pick in Arena, and I think she's decent there. She's not like super top tier, but she's not bad either. And if anything, she's probably a little bit more valuable nowadays because of just how many Earth characters that are out there in Camille and Mariel, and to a lesser extent Bari and Rue. But there's a ton of good viable Earth characters that she's going to counter at the moment. You're probably not seeing too many water characters because Camille is the far and away the most dominant one, and the only water character that's, you know, remotely viable probably right now is Orca, to a very niche extent. You can take these fire characters in with, you know, not have to worry too much about getting countered. If anything, you're probably going to be doing the countering. She doesn't have the range to really support being a good Coliseum character, which means she's not going to be that good in orbital lift and camo zone. So she's pretty much relegated to a very niche raid character, but still a good character in raiding. She's usually associated with some of the best damage teams, you know, not necessarily the absolute top, but she's still right there as one of the best characters you possibly can have in there, because not only is she on the good teams, but she's in multiple good teams regardless of element. So if you have a narrow roster, you're going to get value out of her potentially. She can be a flex pick to where you only level up one character and she's going to work in multiple teams, which I think is really good value, because leveling these characters is a big pain. So having a character that can fit in multiple team comps is fantastic. And she covers other game modes kinda in Arena there. So solid character, very niche, very late game, but still a good character. I just think there's way more priorities on this list than her at the moment. The main point I want to make about Garam here is, yes, I would say for the most part he's overshadowed by MK99. MK99 has, you know, similar range, does more burst in Arena, has a better party skill of the 50% ranged attack versus the 50% water attack, so you can use MK99 in more scenarios than him. But I do want to say that if you're limited on pulls and you already have this guy, this is a good example of a character that does similar things to what MK99 does. You don't need to chase MK99 when you have Garam. This would be an example of a character that, hey, I already got my ranged damage figured out. Let me shore up the rest of my roster with other characters like, let's say, Oghma or Miya. This is a character that is good at what he does, and if you already have this position filled, then find other characters to fill other slots that you're missing. Because I still think he's a great character. It's just he's overshadowed by these other heroes currently in the game. And then, yes, there's a lot of Earth characters roaming around with Camille, so I understand the hesitance of having a water character. But he's an example of a character that's really good, but gets overshadowed by just a fraction by MK99. But it's more important to have other characters that fill out other roles for you than it is to replace, just slightly replace what this guy does. So he's still still very good. He still hits like an absolute truck. He's still one of the premier best raid characters in the game, so don't neglect him. If you already have him leveled up, focus on other characters to fill out the rest of your roster instead of like focusing on this. That's really what I want to say about him, because I'm just trying to convey just how good he is. It's just when you see everyone in the top all using MK99, you don't see any Garam anymore. It's because, you know, yes, they're better characters, and yes, that's the top 100. At the same time, he's still a very solid character that if you already have this guy maxed out, don't feel bad about it, because he's still very useful. And there's other priorities that you should go for instead of just trying to fix that. Last hero on the banner is Rue. And I would say this is probably the only hero on this banner that I don't think is worth pulling for. I don't really see too many uses for her currently at the moment in the game. There's so many other priorities. There's so many better heroes. I would just save your gems. If you need to pull someone and she's like, it would mean so many things. Like, you already have all these heroes. Pretty much every hero on this list I think is more useful. To give you guys an idea, I've actually just hero reset Rue with the hero reset thing we got on this patch. In the Earth team in raiding, she got replaced from Camille. Yes, it's still a good team with her if you don't have Camille. So if you're in that situation, you're trying to have a good Earth team, but that's already if you pulled for her. In this banner here, I just don't see how she fits in. If you like her as a character, I think I did have some success in Erina. She's kind of fun. She's kind of unique. When charges used, reduces damage taken by 30%, but then also when charges to a target to inflict melee attack, reduces the target's attack by 30%. That's kind of a unique debuff to apply to people. Most people are applying defense downs, where she's applying attack downs, being a pretty tanky character. She does have some uses in Coliseum and in Camazone by able to, her AI forces to go to the backline like Seaside Sohi. So she's not entirely useless. I think she's a good character. I just can't imagine a scenario where I would actively want to pull for her, actively want to level her up. So she's not a bad character by any means, but she's just not good enough to justify nowadays when there's all these other better characters around in the game that, you know, we only have a finite amount of resources here, so you can't pick up everyone. And I think she's one of the characters that at the moment just doesn't really find a good enough spot in the meta to justify pulling for her. That's going to be it for all heroes on this banner here. I think this is a great opportunity for a lot of people to pick up some really good characters in this game. Let me know in the comments below if you have any more questions specifically when it comes to this topic. And with that, guys, I'm out. Peace.